Emotions. The very thing they taught us to suppress. Little did they know that it's the very source of how we gain our power. Do you think that was a coincidence? All I'm saying is that I gotta laugh at myself. I just be playing too many jokes. But behind the joke is a little bit of the truth. And I feel the truth is that a lot of people don't understand the purpose behind why we have emotions and how they don't intertwine. They're parts of the journey and the experience for your evolution, maturity, and actual divine gain. What I mean by divine gain is what is divinely meant for you, and swiftly and easily receive that with no issues. So today's episode, we're going to be diving into understanding how emotions are guides and not something we should demonize. Because what we call our inner demons are really trying to assist us in our healing. And stay tuned to the very end, because I'm going to share with you, once we understand this concept and how to be able to implement true healing, for you to never fear how you feel. Stay hydrated, my friends. Stay hydrated. And no, it's not because Mercury retrograde is in retrograde or there's planets in transit. Just drink your waters, okay? Treat the body like thy temple. Treat the body like thy temple. What is going on, you beautiful beings? Welcome back, AwakenOnes, on another episode on Embracing Essential Series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanez. If you're new to this channel, welcome. On this channel, I speak about spiritual development, emotional awareness, and I do guided readings for each zodiac sign, and I talk about things I feel need to be talked about because it's our divine right to know more than what we have been told. But, beautiful beings, I had a very... I don't even know how to explain the experience, but it was the most beautiful experience to understand the concept of why we feel. And a lot of people, like I said in my intro, is that a lot of us fear our emotions. We fear how we feel, to the point that we fear even feeling joy or satisfaction without having the thought at the other side of experience that will be something that we should do. And when realizing this within myself, I'm like, wow. And it made me realize the importance of why emotions are here. And this is the thing where people get tripped up in talking about how their emotions are their inner demons, trying to demonize their traumas or what they feel or memories that they have. And through this is why we end up judging how we feel. And that is why majority of us don't have self-compassion. Is because, one, judgment was taught. There's no reason to judge. But when we do judge, we separate ourselves from the very thing that's probably trying to teach us. Matter of fact, heal us. So let's get into understanding how emotions are not something we should demonize. It should be something that we'd embrace. Anger, depression, sadness, fear, all of these feelings have purpose. Majority of us live within our minds thinking that the logical mind is always going to get us to what we want and always is the power to create what we think that is the source of power. And because of this, we deflect and we don't even focus on, that's funny that I said in the beginning, thy temple. We don't focus on the body. We don't focus on the other purpose of why everything exists. And it blows my mind when people think the mind is so much more powerful than the heart, when the heart was first thing created in the womb. And I always tell them, well, good luck trying to breathe while using your mind, you know, just good luck. Just let me know how that goes for you. I like to be a sarcastic ass because we have to really take into a concept of how there's more than our mind. To us, there's more how we see, there's more than how we perceive, and we use everything from the logical mind. And through this is what makes us fear how we feel, our intuition, our gut instincts. That is actually where our willpower is, in order to move into action, to feel that we have the power of our life in our hands. I don't know where this all coming from, it's gonna let it be, but All these emotions have purpose behind them. And when we judge them, we don't allow ourselves to see why is it that they exist and why is it that they are here. How judgment comes into play with us separating ourselves from understanding the root of why is it we are how we are, why is it we feel that we feel and do what we do, and even reoccurring patterns that formulate within our life. And so the way judgment works, judgment was created to think that we have the power to state our opinion. And with this is how we judge ourselves. And when we judge ourselves, because we were taught to judge everything else, it's as if we had to separate ourselves to determine if this is good or bad. And therefore, majority of us run away from the very emotions that are actually supposed to be teachable and are actually supposed to be guides. So understanding that judgment was a man-made thing, created and teachable to teach us separation. Now we should really dive into understanding that there's no separation within self. Oh my God, I love how everything intertwined. I just realized my clothes, separation of black and white, the duality, bringing the two together. I mean, I love this. I just grabbed my tits and made the shades. Listen, good moments here, man. Since now we know how judgment intertwines with the entanglement and separation and finding separation within ourselves, our mind, our heart, our ego, our higher self. Now let's dive into an even deeper aspect. Now we understand the purpose of emotions. That's what I wanted to say. There we go. It came back. That thoughts are frequencies that we pick up. But emotions are what makes those thoughts move into action. So now that we understand this concept of how, since thoughts are frequencies, but our emotions what move those frequencies into form, physical form, then we can understand, there is some form of separation within self that's causing a discord within our life and what we want and who we really want to be. So what is that discord that's causing us to run away from what we fear, run away from what we truly desire? Which is the joyful emotions, but yet we run away from them for fear, because the fear of thinking something bad will happen after having that experience. And now we can see how we're always probably self-sabotaging, or always overgiving, or always in a state of self-pity, or thinking we don't have no right over how we create our life. And now that we see that there is a vibrational discord, because yes, thoughts are frequencies, but emotions what move things into actions. If we run away from the things that actually give us power to move into action or not to move into action, then we could really start understanding that how emotions are really our power to create, to heal, to be. But when we judge that and demonize that, there's always going to be a separation within ourselves, not to be able to feel as if we're not living in our fullest potential. Now I'm even thinking about what potential really means. Potential is about the gratification of being one's true self. Oof. I give that one to spirit, man. That's the next thing. Oh, when your mind is blown and you know they didn't mean you. Oh my God. Let's do it. Now I want to talk about my experience actually with you guys of why I felt this is just so vital to understand that how emotions are really our guides. So I had an experience last week where I was buying these, I wanted these new boots so bad. And I'm a Capricorn. I'm a little materialistic, I could admit that. But I know at the end of the day, that's not the true importance. But I believe that I deserve to spoil myself. So the payment wasn't going through. And this is how shadow work intertwines with everything, you guys. Listen to this. I really want to share this with you. Is that, so when I had this experience of why the payment wasn't going through, I was even like outside working and stuff, and I was like, why is it working? I drove home and I was like, it's still not working. And I started to get real pissed off, and I started to get so mad, and it got to the point where I just gave up on it. And right when I gave up on it, it worked. I'm like, okay, whatever, I see how you work. I got a little upset, of course, but that is okay, because we're meant to embrace our emotions. But once I embraced this, it brought me to a whole tunnel of what is underneath the purpose behind why I felt this rage and this anger. And it started to make me realize, like, well, I actually wrote in my note. I'm going to share a love note with y'all. I like to call my awakening moments like love notes. So let me see. So I wrote, when I had this experience, I realized how my anger has disrupted a lot of things in my life. And then learning the spiritual essence of anger, the oppressed feeling of wanting things my way, caused overindulgence and control. And let me tell you, my mind was blown when I realized that, because I'm like, wow, I do overexert to the point I want to control everything. And that stems from an experience in my childhood, but I didn't have control over anything. So as I got older, I made sure that I made sure that I felt like I had control over everything. But little do we know, what we think we control really controls us. And that was another big awakening I had. So I started to embrace anger as something not to react to, or respond to. It was really something to embrace and to not judge, but to allow it to be there. And in that moment of realizing this, I started to understand the true essence of what spirituality was about to me. And it wasn't about, love and light or doing good, giving good. It was about making sure I'm good within me to give the good on the outside of me. Oof. So spirituality is not about finding ways to avoid or eradicate our feelings. It's about getting close enough to ourselves to see the heart. Ain't that beautiful? I thought that was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. And then, what else did I write that I want to share with you guys? The whole purpose of why I'm sharing this. Anger, this is what I said. If I allowed myself to embrace my anger, I will be able to learn to be vulnerable and understand things with more compassion. And that made me really started to accept the things I've done, the choices I've made, who I was, as I was, and really started to, I wouldn't say forgive myself. It was more of loving myself in a deeper way that I never have before. And through this experience, you guys, I started to realize that one little moment of getting angry where I am going to go through over a materialistic thing literally led me to dig a hole and start to pluck out the root of the anger. And that was fear of not having control, fear of not things going my way. And that was such a guidance for me to receive. So now that I share my spiel with you, thank you for this. Thank you for being here. Just thank you for allowing me to assist you on your journey. Because everything I share is just a way for us to understand ourselves and love ourselves. Because through this love, we will understand the purpose of why we are here and start to remember who we really are. Because when we don't love ourselves, we separate ourselves. When we separate ourselves, we forget ourselves. The whole point is to remember thyself, be with thyself, and understand you are home wherever you go, because you got you. And then you start to realize, like, damn, you belong here. That's empowerment. And that's all I want to teach you guys. So the way that I've been able to understand my emotions and learn how to master them and gain more emotional intelligence to be able to go throughout life knowing that you have the power to not allow things to manipulate you, hurt you, or fear those things, is because you understand who you are and the purpose of why you are here. And that is how you know your power and master thyself. So the way that you stop seeing your inner trauma, those intense emotions, as demons, is start to embrace them. So this is an exercise, a healing technique that I use to help me dive into shadow work deeper, but also to dive into my triggers, my imperfections, the part of me that I know are meant to teach me, and I'm meant to teach you. So that is, when emotion arises, like for me, when the anger arose, I sense into it. I started to feel, okay, if emotions are guides, then let me really experience them as a being, a person. So I dive into it, and whatever, if it feels like a feminine or a masculine energy, I allow it to be. And sometimes my mind is very vigilant, so maybe a woman will show up, maybe a man will show up, maybe an animal will show up, something will show up, but it's a guide regardless. So I question it. Spirit of anger, are you a spirit of the shadows? And they say yes. And of course, there's something beneath the surface. It lets you, and this is how you build spiritual discernment and protection to know which spirit you're talking to. Hence, not only getting mastery over physical self, but mastery over spiritual self. So, I question it. Okay, why you are here? And I allow it to share with me why it's here. And you have to allow yourself to feel into the emotion, because it's when things get deep. The more you question things, the more you receive an answer. Curiosity is what always gets you clarity, not confusion. So, as I allow it to give me an answer, I embrace it. I have 3 questions I ask the spirit all the time when it's through anger, sadness, overgiving, anxiety, or whatever emotion pops up as in, of course, people pleasing or a decision I have to make. Hence confusion. So, why are you here? How are you serving me? And what is your medicine? My 3 questions to it. Once I receive those answers, I allow myself to embrace the sensations I'm feeling and the guidance I received. Now you have to understand that our emotions are guides, they're not demons. Meaning that our emotions show up when we're at our lowest or having repeating patterns of why things happen to us, and we question why these things happen to us, or why does this always happen to me. These emotions are not here to torment you. They're here to show you. They're here to help you bring forth what's in the darkness that created that feeling into the light, to see the truth behind it. And little do you know, a lot of people, I highly believe, since I feel like I have shamanic energy within me, is that those spirits are like our brothers or sisters on the other side as spirits. Didn't learn their lessons, but now they're trying to learn the lesson, and you're the only gateway to bring that into the light. Little deep, but that's how I view it. So, now that you ask me this question, those 3 questions, and you embrace it, then you say, I'm going to walk you into the light. And then you bring them into the light. You allow that energy to be here. You allow that emotion to express what it needs to express so you can learn. And now that you bring it into the light, allow yourself to visualize what it turns into, an angel. Maybe from the way my anger looked, it was like a very, very angry man with red eyes. And I walked him to the light. He turned into it looked like a knight, but you could tell he was a king that didn't learn his lesson. And so, therefore, after that moment, that's the last question I have. Is now that you're in the light, what wisdom do you have for me now? And therefore, that is the biggest guide of a lesson that you'll receive from them. And little do you know, what you feared was actually here to assist you. So now that you turn what you call a demon into a guide, you start realizing you can use that guidance everywhere, in every area of your life, to gain that emotional maturity and that emotional mastery of yourself. And this is not about emotionally bypassing how you feel. This is not about manipulating. This is not about, don't use this healing technique as a way for you to doubt yourself, or mostly doubt yourself. So the reason why I share this is because it's a way for you to trust in your own instincts of understanding yourself, rather than letting the world outside of you determine who you are. So allow this technique to be something that brings you closer to your heart and brings you a true understanding of what love is about. And this is a nonchalant technique. Don't think of it as that way. Don't think of it as it's something that won't be beneficial. It was something that will bring you deeper into understanding who you are as a spiritual being, rather just a human being. So other than that, you guys, that's all I wanted to share with you. I really hope you got some insight. I really hope in some way, some form, this brought you to a deeper understanding of who you are as a being having this experience, and finding fun in it while doing exercises like this and having revelations that are only just gonna surprise the fucking beautiful power that lies within you. So other than that, you guys, I love you so much. Really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification so you'll always be notified on my next videos. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Oh.